Well, only on Fox, we're talking to the attorney for the sons of Alex Murdaugh's housekeeper, who say they haven't seen a dime of the millions of dollars in inheritance they're owed since their mother's death. Now, the attorney tells me that her sons, Brian and Tony, only found out about the settlement in their mother's death from a newspaper article late last year. They say their first attorney, Corey Fleming, never told them a settlement was reached. The boys went through many attorneys who would not take the case until they were led to Eric Bland. They then filed a lawsuit that led to the uncovering to an unfiled order to where a judge approved an additional $4.3 million settlement. And this is a copy we have of that order. And I asked Eric Bland about how he believes Alex Murdaugh and others were allegedly able to get away with embezzling millions. In your lawsuit, it's basically saying that you guys believe Alex Murdaugh embezzled that up to $4 million for his own personal gain.
Yes, I think that, through the efforts of Alex and having a friendship with Corey Fleming, and whether Corey Fleming let his guard down and didn't really investigate it properly, the only people that have made money in this case are Corey Fleming and his law firm, Alex Murdaugh, who falsely set up an account named Forge to mirror a settlement structure company out of Atlanta, Georgia called Forge Consulting. That's a company that all of us plaintiff lawyers, when we're going to do structured settlements for minors or people who have long-term medical issues, get their money out over time. He had Corey Fleming send settlement proceeds that were by court order supposed to go to my client, the beneficiaries, to a P.O. box in Hampton, and make the checks out to a company called Forge. Alex Murdaugh then got the checks, opened a bank account in Bank of America under the name of Alex Murdaugh, DBA Forge, and then cashed the checks. So as we sit here today, the only people that have gotten money are Alex Murdaugh, who appears to have absconded with more than $3 million, $3.5 million. Corey Fleming, who had a significant legal fee of it at least $660,000 or a court-approved $1.4 million. And Chad Westendorf, the personal representative, got $30,000.
Now, one thing I've asked Alex Murdaugh's attorneys in my exclusive interview was about his client telling Gloria Satterfield's boys the fall was his fault. Dick Harpootlian would only say his client was not home and did not believe he caused Gloria's fall. So today I asked Eric about the fall, and for the first time, I finally got an answer, and you're about to hear details of what happened that day and why Eric Bland said Alex told the boys it was his fault. It all started with Maggie Murdaugh calling 911.
And so a 911 phone call was made. She and both Paul spoke to the 911 operator and said that Gloria Satterfield had fallen outside of their the exterior stairs on their home. And so an ambulance was dispatched, and when they came, she was on the ground, and we're told by SLED that there was blood next to where she fell, next to her head. She was then taken to a hospital in Savannah, and then airlifted to to Trident Hospital in Somerville, South Carolina, where she remained for 3 weeks until she died. She suffered a subdural hematoma, and so after being initially able to just give her name and different things, she suffered the brain bleed, and then essentially for the next 3 weeks was in a state where she couldn't really communicate. But Alex had told the authorities that she had tripped, the dogs had caused her to trip and fall down the stairs. And we presume that that's true, because that's what we understand what Maggie said to the 911 operator. And so at the funeral, Alex went to the family and said, look, I feel horrible. My dogs were the cause of your mom falling, and ultimately she died because of that. And I'm going to, take the boys, who are the only heirs. She died intestate, so under South Carolina law, they're the only heirs. I'm going to take them to a lawyer I know, And that lawyer's going to make claims against me for the death of your mother, called wrongful death, and a survival claim because she survived 3 weeks. And I'm going to turn them over to all my insurance companies. And, I'm going to be honest, and it's our fault. The dog should not have been unruly, and they shouldn't have been all together like that to, knock your mother over. And I'm going to admit liability. And so that is how this all happened. And he took them to Corey Fleming. Now, he didn't tell the boys that Corey was his childhood best friend, that they were college roommates, that he was the godfather to Paul. But that's how it happened. And then Corey Fleming made these claims by demand. There was never a lawsuit. It's not like he filed a complaint and sued. He just made written demands to Alex Murdaugh, who turned him over to his insurance company. And after about a year after her death, there was a mediation, and all these claims settled for a total of $4.3 million. But the boys were never kept abreast.
So you could almost say Tony and Brian fell victim to the Murdaughs twice, one in the death of their mom, and now here they are missing $4 million that the Murdaughs said they would pay them.
Well, sure. I mean, they obviously feel betrayed. The mother thought that she was interwoven into this family as being a housekeeper there for 25 years and helped raising the boys. My two clients believe that they were also part of the family of the Murdaughs, and that they looked up to Alex Murdaugh as a very important person. And so, yes, they feel betrayed, they feel hurt, and now they're in a state of shock because SLED has announced that they're looking into the circumstances surrounding their mother's death. Now, they believe, until it's proven otherwise, that she did die, as was disclosed by Gloria on the 911 call and by Alex. They have no reason not to believe it. But, there could come a time in the future, if the state continues to pursue the cause of her death, that their mother would be exhumed from a grave, which is a difficult thing for a loved one to have to watch and confront. So it's a whole host of emotions, because when they came to see me, they refused to believe that this money was stolen from them. And as I told you, I didn't think it would have been either. I thought we were going to get an easy explanation. But, as 1 week turned into 2 weeks, and it went from 505,000 to $1 million to $2 million to now 4.3 million, they feel totally victimized, and they were. It is an ultimate abuse of trust, an ultimate abuse of authority, and an ultimate abuse of power. I do believe we're going to get a significant portion of that money for our client, and if we don't, and we're going to put it before 12 wonderful jurors in the state of South Carolina, in some county that is not infected by what has taken place in Hampton County. And it's my hope that that jury will deliver justice, a full cup of it, to my clients, which will be giving them a verdict for all the money that was stolen, and then significantly more in punitive damages to teach a lesson to lawyers and other people. You can't do that to clients.
And Eric, I'll end it on this. I know for a lot of folks involved in this, monetary will help these families in what they have lost. But as an attorney yourself, and reading this and how many other attorneys and judges were involved, I think one of the overall aspects of this is, bringing all of the injustice to light, whether it's money or not, and holding those accountable. This went on for so long, and it's sad that if Mallory Beach would not have been killed in that boat, this could still be going on today.
No question about it. No question about it. The greatest disinfectant is sunlight. And there is so much sunlight on the Murdaughs and their transactions and all that they've done and their holdings, that I don't believe at the end of the day that this citadel of the Murdaughs, and there are Murdaughs in the probate court, and there are Murdaughs in the police department and in the 911 department. I'm telling you that, Cody. Relatives with the name Murdaugh. I don't believe that the court system and the government and the law enforcement will act as they did before all this happened. When you have 5 bodies since 2015, and you have the $4.3 million from my client. And then his law firm said that there were millions of dollars embezzled by Alex Murdaugh. I just think the Murdaugh name has run its course. I don't think the citizens of Hampton County are going to live in fear of that name anymore. And more people are coming forward. I'm telling you, Cody, we get information every day by people who have inside knowledge about the Murdaughs. And I think people are standing up and saying, we want to clean it all up. I do know that we have a good justice system in our state. It is not fair to condemn all of Hampton County. And it's not fair to condemn even his law firm, because there's great lawyers in that firm, Ronnie Crosby, Johnny Parker, Mark Ball. The problem is Alex Murdaugh has lived and acted in such a disrespectful and repugnant lifestyle that a lot of people are harmed in his wake. But I do believe at the end of the day, kind of like Shawshank Redemption, when Andy Dufresne climbed through the sewer pipe and came out clean on the other side, I think our justice system in our state will come out clean on the other side when all this is over.
Just mind-blowing, the information that comes out literally by the week in this case. Now, investigations are still ongoing into the embezzlement allegations against Alex Murdaugh. Allegations he hired a drug dealer to shoot him in the head to make it look like a homicide. The death of Gloria Satterfield, the double homicide of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh. SLED says they've uncovered other possible crimes they're looking into as well, including the 2015 death of Stephen Smith.